The Miami Dolphins made a big trade. They moved up in the second round of the draft to acquire the Raiders' 37th overall pick in the second round and the Raiders' fifth round pick in exchange for their own 48th overall pick in the second round, their 98th overall pick in the third round, and a fourth round pick in order to select Jonah Savaiinaea of the Arizona Wildcats. And at this point, he's projected to be more of a guard than a tackle, though he played both in college. But right now, he's probably going to be slotted in at left guard alongside Patrick Paul and Aaron Brewer. But that's a little bit presumptuous because Mike McDaniel and the coaching staff never really declared whether James Daniel will be playing on the right side or the left side. So it stands to reason that James Daniel may be playing on the left side next to the young Patrick Paul, and then they may have the rookie playing on the right side next to the more experienced Austin Jackson. So if that plays out that way in training camp, then that's great. For the Dolphins, it's probably a big upgrade to their guard position, having both James Daniels and having Jonah Savaiinaea. Both of those guys, with the amount of strength and power and size that they have inside, it definitely would be an upgrade to the Dolphins' offensive line, especially the interior where they needed the most help. So as a Dolphin fan, you have to be excited about that. The Dolphins really did stick to building the trenches, and it goes along the same path of what they've been trying to do all off season, which is to build the trenches, change the identity of the team, and get more physical. And the Dolphins needed this in the worst way. And I'm excited about the guy. He seems to be a guy who plays a bit upright, so he's not really suited for tackle on the NFL level. But as a guard in a phone booth, this guy is big. He's 6'4". He's strong. He's powerful. He can get to the second level. He's very athletic for a guy his size. And if you are running an outside zone like the Dolphins do, then he has the flexibility of being able to go on the outside and not only seal the corner, seal the edge, but also kick out blocks from the cornerbacks that may be trying to set the edge. So he'll be a good piece at the guard position for the Dolphins. Whether he plays left guard or right guard, he'll definitely be an upgrade for what the Dolphins need. And, I wouldn't have liked the Dolphins to have traded up so many draft assets since they have so many needs. You would think that giving up a second, a third, and a fourth round pick, even though they're getting back a fifth round pick, is a little bit too expensive. But when you watch the guy on tape, he definitely seems like he's one of those, I want to call them unicorns. He seems to be one of these offensive linemen that can both excel at power and athleticism and agility. And you don't see that in offensive linemen too much. You either see one or the other. Either they're very strong and powerful, like a road grader, and they can beat you up in a phone booth, or they're the kind of guy who's very mobile and athletic, a little bit undersized, underweight, but they're able to get to the second level and make second and even third level blocks on offense. So those kinds of guys who can combine both of those skills in one player is something you just don't see often. Some of the elite players can do both. And I'm not saying this guy is elite. He still has a long way to go. He's still very young. But the fact that he's 324 pounds, the fact that he is well built, he has a thick frame, especially in his lower half of his body, he can definitely anchor bull rushes and interior pressure from inside from getting to the quarterback too quickly. He didn't give up any sacks in 2024, so that's a plus. Even though he played both tackle and guard, which means that he played some good athletes on the outside when he was playing tackle, but he still didn't give up any sacks. So that is really good. And PFF rated him 82.2 in terms of his pass blocking grade in 2024. So he's not just a guy who can get his hands on the defense and push them over. He's also a guy who's very sound in pass blocking too. So the Dolphins get a guy who's very versatile, which is what they like. He's not a pure guard. He's a guard tackle. So it gives them some flexibility. Also, he's played on the left side and the right side. So the fact that he can play both ways is very promising for the young man. That means they can always find a way to fit him in when they need to rotate the line to put their best five on the field. So the Dolphins really got a good guy here. The price was expensive, but they went up and got a guy who, at least on film, from what I've seen, looked like he's worth the price of admission. Now, the other thing is when it comes to Dolphins trading up is that they haven't had much success in the past trading up for players that they have conviction on. They traded up for Liam Eichenberg. They gave up a second round pick to the New York Giants in 2000, well, in the following year after he was drafted, and including the third round pick that they used to select him. And that third and second round pick that they paid for Liam Eichenberg probably wasn't worth it. Now, Liam Eichenberg is back on the team under a 1-year deal. Chances are, at least at this point, he's going to be a depth piece, and he's a guy who's very versatile. Liam Eichenberg, he's not a full-time starter, but in a pinch, if you need him to play center, you need him to play guard, he can definitely do that for you. And there's even an off chance that he might be able to play right tackle for you. So he gives you some versatility if you need to plug in a guy in a pinch, but you definitely don't want him to play any kind of full-time snaps whatsoever. So the Dolphins still have a way to go in terms of building the offensive line. They added some good pieces. As of right now, it seems like the top 5 on the line, just judging by free agency and draft pedigree, you have Patrick Paul, a second-round pick. You have Jonah, who's also a second-round pick. Then you have Aaron Brewer, who came as a free agent. Then you have James Daniel, who was a very promising right guard for the Steelers. And then, of course, you have the former first-round pick, Austin Jackson, playing right tackle. So the Dolphins have some guys who's really good at not just pass blocking, but run blocking. And they're also very good at getting on the outside and setting the edge and making second and third level blocks. That's something both Jonah and James Daniels can both do together. So between the both of those guys playing guard, you're really excited of what McDaniel can do with this offense when he can both protect his quarterback and also give his running backs room to run. It's definitely going to be exciting, but I hope the Dolphins don't stop here. I hope they add more depth to the offensive line. They add somebody who can compete at tackle to be a swing tackle. I like to see somebody who can push Liam Eichenberg for that third guard spot. So the Dolphins have 9 picks in this draft after trading away 1 to the Raiders. They still have 1 in the 4th round. They have a few more in the 5th round. I think 3 more in the 5th round. No, 2 more in the 5th round, 1 in the 6th round, 3 in the 7th round. So they still have some picks to make, but I hope they don't neglect the offensive line. I hope they don't say to themselves that the offensive line is rebuilt. I hope they invest more assets into the offensive line and the defensive line too. They did a good job in getting a very good nose tackle in the 1st round, and now they have to make sure they fortify the trenches. This is the only way that they'll be able to change that identity that they have on defense and offense. And I think the Dolphins are off to a good start in this draft between the 331-pound nose tackle and the 324-pound guard. They added up to about 650 pounds worth of interior alignment and trench play for the Dolphins in 2025. And they certainly needed it in the worst way. So I'm glad the Dolphins made good on their commitment to not just fortifying the offensive line, but also building the trenches and helping to change the identity of the team for 2025. So that's it for this video. If you like this video, hit the like button and hit the subscribe button to get all the latest content, and leave a comment in the section below. And as always, I'll see you in the next video.